I don't like dyes. But Elpis and the rest of the druids likely won't work with the city. For my part, I'm going to report everything to the city officials and decide if they should get involved. Nah, we can't trust her. She's plotting something. Alright. Let's try weakening the mayor's position. Hopefully I can use my position to help Elpis handle or convince them to work with the city. But would they? They're so set on their ways. It's a difficult decision.
Reaching High Island. Boat awaits you at the coast. You need to take exactly 4 people with you. So far, 8 is supposed to be willing to join you. To leave with the crew, you need to start preparations in the morning. Before leaving, better make sure you're well prepared to face the unknown. Okay, gather my crew. You need to take 4 souls with you. Jidia, probably take her. The bandit. Dalit. Definitely knows how to handle monsters. Pyros. I don't know if I can trust him. Svi, I paid a lot of money for. But Tulia knows me. But she did struggle to our last encounter, and she's probably still not. Tircis probably, because having a warlock would come in handy. We already have an archer, a hunter, a warlock. I did pay Svi a lot of dragon coins. Can I trust him? I mean, probably. I think I'll still go with Tulia. I didn't know I could only take 4 with me. Wish I knew it ahead of time. Okay. I think we're good. You and your companions shove the boat into the water. You take a deep breath of the chilling air. You adjust your clothes, but even their second layer is barely enough to keep you warm in the breeze. You stare into the night and listen to the roaring waves. The seagulls jump between the teeth-like rocks seeking food and rest. Look around. Magenta is hidden inside of Jidia's cabin, but you doubt it's going to have a good sleep. Turn her toward the others. Got any questions? Now's a good moment to ask them. Got a few rough hours ahead, but stick together and we're all going to make it. Clear my throat. We're heading into danger, but we'll return as heroes. No time for politeness. Let's get this done. No, I should probably. If you have any questions, now's a good moment to ask them. Is the water always so loud and angry? Daylight addresses no one in particular, even if gorgeous. Pierces wraps his creepers around his arms. Don't let me start. I've got all the questions. I should just become a mercenary, seeing how my recent seasons have been going. Tulia lets out a somewhat relieved sigh and glances at the huntress. Aren't you hiring a pelt? You get in the boat and grab the planks, not used to the swaying. I can do this. We can do this. And ask the right for protection. Right isn't going to show up, but we're going. We can do this. Pick people I trust. The first few minutes are the slowest. You push off the sharp rocks with the oars and even your arms, but the restless waves charge at the boat again and again. Above the dark, salty waters, through the bright night, you see the outline of High Island. You get used to the rhythm of rowing. Your allies are focused on the struggle at hand. Rowing will be harsh, better to take turns. The waves in the deeper waters get tall enough to splash your lips. That's when the harpies take their chance. The pack, a few monsters strong, lowers their flights, seeking an opportunity to strike. Their fluttering, bat-like wings try to oppose the wind. The creatures are smaller than goblins, with ape-like features and talons that make you think of a parrot. It's too dark to tell the color of their fur. If you can, shoot them. Atmosphere, prepare yourselves. A spear? I did take a spear. Yeah, if you can, shoot them. Jita's arrows causes havoc and keeping you safe for another few breaths. The shells of harpies hit the water only to get dragged away by the waves. Dalit releases only one quarrel before she reaches for an axe, but her powerful shot tears off a harpy's head. Wow. The dead shell sinks like a rock. Alright, my turn. After your quarrel hits a harpy's hip, the creature tries to fly for a bit longer, but soon crashes into water and disappears beneath the surface. Dalit turns toward you with the quarrel in her teeth, what makes her look like she's making a wide grin. The remaining members of the pack take no more chances. They spread in various directions, seeking shelter among the tusk-like rocks. Oh, great job, everyone. You keep morale high. After rowing for an hour or so, you leave the coastal rocks behind. The fierce waterfall ahead won't be too difficult to reach, but it's not the spot that hides the old harbor. The wasted effort and cold winds will surely exhaust you before you find it. You look north. There's another waterfall there, a much gentler one. Dalit looks at you, but says nothing. She seems to be seasick. Is it updating the map? No, it's not. It's a spot. Let's try to land here. I didn't think about them getting seasick. And it's headed for the northern waterfall. 15 long minutes go by and the roar of the waterfall devours all sounds. Here the wall of the island isn't as flat as it seemed to be from afar. And the tide lets you reach a few high ledges, flat and wide enough for a boat. Even though it's dark, you recognize some old wooden beams, as well as a few copper rods, remains of an old structure. There's another boat, or rather a small chunk of it, tied to a post just a few steps away from you. All of you get out and scrape the hull against the ash-colored rocks. Let's prepare the ropes. The cave behind the waterfall is maybe 30 feet above you, but getting to it will take some effort. The ancient stairs and handrails have mostly fallen apart, and the slippery rocks are nothing less than a trap. Tircis, put these creepers to use. Put Tulia together. The bone hook will make it much easier. Got no more tricks, time to climb. I've shortened the distance with a few confident jumps. Could do that. You notice one slab that's wider than the others and use it as a starting point. You reach a larger chunk of the broken stairs, and while the bronze structure protests with a loud screech, it won't collapse any time soon. You reach out to one of your companions and help them join you. Alright. I don't want to make Tircis use the creepers. I don't want to waste his pneuma. I have a bone hook. Give it a shot. Not only does the hook allow you to climb up the rope, it also helps you test the durability of the bronze rails and sticking out roots of plants. You reach the higher spot of the wall quickly, followed by the rest of the group. Alright. Alright, Tircis, I guess it's your turn. Sure. He stretches them out, not only easily grasping the nearest roots and broken stairs, but also supporting your back as you try to move. Finally, you pull yourself up to the dark mouth of the cave, the remains of the original stream. I light up a torch and examine the area. The stream roars above you. You light up a torch. The long, dark tunnel is moist and full of bats, which, surprised by your presence, flee into the deeper corridors. Finally, off the damn boat. Danlet's face remains its color slowly. Her soaked hair is now maybe 1/8 of its regular volume. The remains of the harbor aren't any more dignified than a pillaged hamlet. The mold and insects spared only a few scraps of wood, while the scavengers scraped clean any pieces of steel and copper. You run your eyes over the spread stone tools and the scratches left by dragged carts and pulls. Ahead is a brick wall with no door or hinges. Your crew prepares a few torches, enough to last maybe half an hour. Okay, I prepare my equipment and get ready to reach the surface. For a few more minutes, you walk by the remnants of the past dwellers, the scraps of fabric, stone bowls, a spot with broken chairs and a table. Walk past a few anxious bats and salamanders, and plenty of spots from which water drips into the tunnel. Sooner or later, the stream will break through one of the countless cracks and reclaim its old bed. You freeze when your light touches the black and creamy fur of the beast. Not sure if you should run, you give the monster a chance to turn its boulder-like head, capped with a single horn as the size of an adult human. It's not a unicorn, is it? The creature may be as large and heavy as a house, but its eyes open one at a time, slowly, as if they haven't decided yet if you're really there. I look left and right. The creature almost fills up the width of the tunnel. Your crew looks paralyzed, with eyes wide open. You lower your voice to a whisper. Let's ask Dalit what to do. She scoffs. Brought any giants with you? Living dragons? Okay, that didn't help. Jita? You're a hunter, right? Her lips really move. Do not touch it. Okay. Tirsus. A few amulets he has with him rattle as he leans toward you. I have no poisons for unicorns. So what is unicorn? Tulia? She frowns and shakes her head. Fine, I'll handle it. Observes and blinks, observing your torch. Well, the only one with Numa is Tirsus, right? Where's my bonds? Nice cave you got here. I'll just walk by you, alright? Reach towards Horn. Who's a sleepy nightmare monster? That'd be terrible! I'll walk around it. I step away slowly, raise the dragon horn to my lips and blow as loud as I can. That could work. I reach toward its horn. Listen, I really need to get on the other side. Let's do this. The echoing roar fills up the corridor. It makes the surprised beast shake its head and answer with its own cry. It gets on its feet and starts to walk backwards until it finds space to turn around. It then trots away, thundering with each step. Oh, this thing worked. You reach for your ear to stop the headache. The others give you respectful glances. Probably should have tested this before I got out here. And lead them to the exit. Only a few boulders separate you from the deep woods. The song of the sea and the hum of the stream are overshadowed by screeches of beasts and their prey. While there are some rusty remains of an old cart, and the gentle slope was carved by tools, it leads you toward a wall of shrubs and creepers. You get on top of a large rock. There are no roads in sight, but you spot a humble trail made by hooves and paws. The warrior looks and her crew are as lost as you are. Okay, well, I think about the map from the giant statue. While the path doesn't lead directly to the volcano, it matches the ancient trail of stars that's meant to take you to the main road, if it still exists. Okay. Time to follow the game trail. It may be narrow, but proves to be firm and straight. The plants that surround it grow from the remains of the old road, hardened with rocks. An owl gives your group a curious glance from a branch above your heads. After a few minutes, you reach what seems to be a proper trail, beaten, wider than a wagon, and leading both toward the volcano and away from it. Among the thicket, you spot the remains of the stone wall, long since collapsed. Alright, for now we'll stick to this route. The further trail is canopied by overhanging trees blocking the moonlight. You hear panicked hooves and flapping wings, but you can hardly see anything. Egidia steps ahead and looks around. Rod and light? Got a lantern, don't worry. Grab your tinderbox, crouch down, and after a few breaths you shove the lit candle into the frame. You stand up and shake the lantern, and it holds. You move on, free of the limits of the night sky, as the yellow glimmer dances on the leaves. It's nighttime. Crap. Alright, just pay attention to the sounds. The familiar yells of howlers fill up the path ahead. The monkeys are moving among the tree crowns, barely visible, and the longer you're around, the greater the pain thumping inside your skull. Their territory is vast, and they don't need to attack you to wound you. Pluck my ears. Do the same. After you throw them a candle, it takes them a few minutes to shove some wax into their ears. The howling becomes muffled, but as long as you have ears, some of it will reach you. Okay, let's see if this will scare them. I blow into the dragon horn. The terrifying bellow of a monster spreads throughout the night. The howls get higher and whinier as many of the beasts leap away. Okay. Dalit. She loads her crossbow. Alright, well, if you can't, shoot him. GD is fast, but just barely scratches one of the jumping monkeys, though it's enough to throw it into a panic. Dalit lands a precious shot into a beast's head, bursting it open and splattering its contents. You look around. As the number of monkeys dwindles, their noises don't bother you as much. You take a few steps down the road, and the remains of the pack move back, letting you through. Now or never. Run! The relief is short-lived. The pond ahead is swarmed with buzzing insects, and judging by the bones of a dragonling you see on the bank, they're as hungry as they are numerous. The only road ahead leads through them, and you may lack the strength to walk around their feeding ground. Pull out the sting ointment. Let's get to it. The scent of lavender, mint, and basil blends into the humid wilderness. Your group covers every ounce of their skin and wraps themselves with scraps of fabric, but waits for you to enter the cloud of wings first. Right. You guys haven't done this before. The creatures split in front of you, forming a dark tunnel. Their loud wings shine in the moonlight. Through the gaps between them, I see the hills and a volcano above them. The Green Mountain. You reach a humble valley. The trees here are sparse, and the stream, while gentle, has completely distorted the path. At least the moonlight can guide you. The black saurians covered with yellow spots are too numerous to count, laying just a few steps away from one another, from the grasses to the branches. Most of them are asleep, but a few of the closer ones give you curious glances, sticking out and hiding their forked tongues rapidly. The beasts aren't massive, maybe 2 steps long. You look to the sides. The hills are impassable. Okay, examine the surroundings. You vaguely recognize the shapes of trees, fruit trees and shrubs, but no animals seem to browse on them. You crouch down. The road is marked with fresh prints left by various creatures. What would you do, Dalit? I could learn something about them if I were to feed them. Search my bags. No, let's ask Dalit. She looks around with care, then speaks thoughtfully. Animals use this path all the time, so I doubt these saurians are dangerous. And they mostly eat fruits, not meat. Okay. Well, could learn something about them if I were to feed them. Search my bags. Don't have any options to choose from. Damn. Throw the meaty bits. They'll go after some wild pants, yeah. You throw the saurian a few fruits and rolled up leaves. Distrustful at first, it steps closer and takes care of them with but a few chomps. Okay. That means it doesn't want meat. That's good. Let's not draw their attention. We've got to move by them. It'll be quicker for us to stay on the main path and run by them quickly. Well, then let's prepare our equipment. No, let's just move by them slowly. Your careful steps are greeted with hisses, but the beasts either stay in their spots, not bothering you as you walk around them, or move out of your way, crossing the stream. Few of them don't even wake up. The valley, once again, turns into a lush forest. The path here is even narrower than it was before. Glad we survived that. Thanks, Dalit. Glance at the volcano. We're halfway there. The path ahead is overtaken by the thicket, but the fatigue is catching up with you. The remains of a hamlet have no dwellers other than rats and snakes. We should rest here, you say to your companions. You find a flat rock, cover it with your cloak, and let yourself sit idly for a bit before you open your bags. You may not find another time to have a few bites of food. Gidia sits by the ruined tower by herself, wipes her forehead with a cloth, and takes her boots off. Dalit sits down on another rock and grabs a bone comb. What a mess, she giggles. Tirsa spends a few minutes looking through the amulets hanging from his neck. His creepers rest on the ground, twitching every now and then. Tulia sits by you. Your fingers are tapping on the hilt of her sword. You notice that she's humming some sort of melody you've heard in the city harbor. Remember what these ruins used to be. Judging by the stone wall and the now collapsed tower, it could have served as a shelter for 24 humans at once. There are no remains of any sheds, working stations, or tools, and you see nothing unusual about the surrounding rocks and plants. Okay. Well, since I'm looking around, look at Agidia. She returns your glance, gives you a kind smile. She's ready for the next challenge. Okay, let's meet Dalad's eyes. She gives you a playful smile, but says nothing. Her new ponytail reveals her small ears. Tirsus. After collecting his amulets, he winks at you and drinks something from a fall flask. Ready when you are. Alright, how are you doing, Tulia? Feel the warmth of her shoulder. Pretty well. If anyone here needs someone to look at their wounds, just let me know. Got enough bombs and bandages for one person. I let my back and limbs rest for a while, then prepare my tools to cut through the bushes. Alright, everyone's ready. Time to carry on. Climb to the top of the wall and get a look ahead. The trail must have overgrown only recently, but the thorny bushes won't be crossed easily. Reaching the beaten track that leads to the proper woods will take some effort. I don't need the withering dust anymore, I use it all. Withering dust, what was that for? Where's the withering dust? Oh, here we go. A leather bag containing poisonous yellow dust that can wither any plant. Well, yeah, I guess. Oh, I could use a large part of it. The golem glove will make it easier. Now we can do this without the withering dust. You never know what's going to come in handy. Golem glove will make it easier. While you have to look out for the thorns, your fierce grab helps you break and pull on these stems that oppose the cuts of your blade. Alright, okay, let's use some of the withering dust, save some of it for later. Covering your skin and drawing a mug full of stream water, you spread the poison on the ground, step by step, and form a passage of twisted, burnt stems, still hissing as you move them with the side of your boot. Okay, let's divide the labor between all of us, that way we'll let our arms are actually. Tirsus, can you do some magical thing? I'll give it a try. Puts on a confident smile and reaches toward with his key reapers. At first you think he's going to tear through the plants, but he then starts to mutter and the bushes bend to the sides, forming a humble tunnel for you. Once you reach the next section of the old road, you take off your thick gloves. Make sure there are no thorns stuck in your pants. Probably shouldn't have used the withering dust then. The road goes straight forward, suddenly getting much wider. The ground is surrounded with collapsed branches, trampling seedlings, and dead roe deer. By judging by the beaten path and the pebbles under the surface, this trail is as old as the previous ones. Think about the map from the giant statue. You've no doubt that this trail is the main road to the volcano, but it's not the only route. According to the stars portrayed on the statue, there should be a shortcut somewhere around here, a narrow one. Much more direct. Okay, let's check if the shortcut is still there. Behind a few fallen trunks, you find the remnants of the path. The rotten, dug-in wooden stairs leading up the hill offer no support, but there's plenty of paw prints on the ground and claw marks on the trees. It's now a convenient game trail. I call the others. Let's see if this path is clear. A narrow, twisted path takes you to a creek, then down the human-carved tunnel leading through a rocky hill. The closer you are to the volcano, the more signs of humans you find. The abandoned tools, the overgrown fences and fire holes, the fruit trees and trimmed centuries-old oaks. The ribbon of smoke hides the stars behind it, though you still can't smell it. The mountain's upper half is black and gray from cold lava and ashes, while the lower half is mostly green, with short but lush trees and thriving flowers bathing in the moonlight. You see the shape of an open gate at the end of the road. That's it, the path to the volcano. Shortcut worked. The stone posts are dark from dust, but as good as new, even though the crooked plants on the wooden leaves are beyond restoration. Seeing nothing on top of the wall, you enter the partially buried ruins with humble buildings sticking out from the layers spit out by the volcano. It takes only a few breaths before the first enemy jumps on the road from the roof of a ruined hut, and your crew prepares their weapons. It's a head shorter than you and walks on its hind legs, but has the head of a raccoon, though its ears are too small, the fangs too long, and the eyes resemble those of an ape. Despite its human-like posture, it leans slightly forward, with arms curled up. It has no tail and keeps sniffing, as if it barely sees you. Next is the boar-headed beast. Right, these are beastmen, with two sets of remarkable tusks and bristles instead of puffy fur. Then they're joined by two long-tailed rat folks and a fox folk and a lizard folk. "Let's be gentle, do not startle them," whispers Egidio with a trembling voice. Look for the leader of their pack. The tallest one of them is the beast with deer antlers. It steps forward and crouches down, touching the ground with an open palm. It doesn't make a sound, it just pierces you with its almost human eyes. Its pack blocks a twisty path forward and is carved in the mountainside, narrow and completely open from one side. I thought this shortcut was going to be good. You think of the tales taught to all children in the Dragonwoods. The beast folk may be destructive, but if not threatened, they're willing to trade. You've got some food, and you could offer the creatures, maybe even enough to fill their stomachs. Okay. Observe them more closely. I think we should have enough supplies. They wear no clothes and carry no tools or weapons. You can't tell if they're hungry, muscular, or healthy. Their shapes resemble no creature you've seen before, other than the gnolls. Dalit? Give them a heart of a dragon? Some flesh made of Numa? She shrugs. I know only tales. Lucidia? Her hands are shaking. We should not be here. Tirsus. He looks through his amulets and kicks away a pebble. One of the rats moves away. I cannot help you here. Tulia? I have slaves and leaders, she stares at the deer. I doubt we have to feed all of them. Beast folk. Gnolls will threaten you until you give them some meat. That's all they eat, no fruits. Okay, food ration. We're waiting for more. How many food rations do I have? I have 9. Okay, give him a food ration. The deer steps closer and eagerly picks up your offering with its hands and turns around as if you're not a threat. Then it sits down at the threshold of one of the ruined buildings and starts to chew your gifts. Right. Okay, to have moved, so give them some more. They're waiting for. Are you serious? The rats leap forward, grab the food with their teeth, then run as if they're in a panic. Disappear behind a rock, chased by a lizard. Okay, once a few of them gone, we could try getting through them. Now, you wait for the others to follow you, and you put every breath into your legs, heading up the path. Hopefully, those are the slaves that haven't taken. The beast, more surprised than anything, step away, and while the boar tries to chase after you, the others stay idle. Soon your crew leaves the ruins behind. Let's hope there's another path down. Appreciate that, Tilia. Glad I brought you along. The howling winds pushes your crew up the short path between the tufts of grass, sparse yellow flowers, dormant ashes, and trails of cold lava. Your legs, unused to such long wayfaring, ache. Dalit kneels down on the poorly lit ground. Someone was here long ago, she says, but went only one direction. Follow them slowly, looking out for animals. There aren't many signs of the past dwellers. The burnt cart, the collapsed shed, the digging tools made of antler and rusty steel. The trail ends at the cave mouth. The leaves of the gate are made of stone, now ajar. I push aside the battering ram. Grab my heavy bags on the ground. Be ready to fight in narrow corridors. The light you're carrying guides your group through the complete darkness. The polished walls of the tunnel, free of pointy rocks, were no doubt carved by human hands. Your steps are loud, unlike the gentle draft in the deep stream. You pass by another corridor, buried by the mountain. You gesture for the others to stop. Something behind the corner kicked a rock and is now rolling on the floor. Asterion, should I say that? Something behind the corner kicked the rock and is now rolling on the floor. Just in case it's not, sneak forward with the axe ready to strike. Holding the line in front of you, you reach the next chamber, where you're greeted by the gassy scream of a human-like throat. You step away, taking a defensive stance, but despite the passing breaths, no attack follows. You enter again. The undead is furiously squirming in its attempts to release itself, alternately pulling the spear that's nailing it to the wall and reaching towards you, as if it's hoping you'll fall into its embrace. There are no other corpses in sight. The creature must be starving. Julia covers her mouth, stopping herself from screaming. Well, Tuli lets out a sigh. Guess we found him. Tears narrows his eyes. Yeah, we did. Dally gives you a worried glance. I'm sorry. Who nailed him to the wall, though? Alright, let me take a look. The half-rotten flesh and the worn, torn tunic tell you little, but Asterion's short shell is still wearing the mail you were told about, now rusty, even more clangy than a new set. Some of the red hair and beard remain on the monster's pale face, but most of their strands are all over the floor. The knees of the creature are shattered. Next to them rests a large rock. The monster caught him here, something of great strength. He knew he was going to die, so he imprisoned himself here. Yeah, he must have done this to himself. I don't know why. Step closer, the undead does its best to throw itself at you, but it's not strong enough. Raise my blade, a few blows to the head should be enough. I'd say I don't want to get close, but let's make it as painless as possible. The coral shatters the skull, scattering to pieces over the chamber. The corpse leans forward, loosely resting on the haft of the spear. Your crew remains silent. The light flickers. Look at it, GD. Are you alright? Ah, shit, fire. Her shoulders slope as she steps away. Is this not weird? How souls like his get swallowed by the forest, whilst Ty sits on the throne of dragon bones. She gets weaker and weaker from the illness of hers, but still has enough breath to lie and scheme. Just stupid. Sorry, did you say illness? Did you bring that up before? Because I don't remember that. Besides, I have some news for you. I searched the shells bundles. Let's look at the cave. The centuries-old treasure spread among the collapsed rocks and chests is mostly beyond use, but you do notice a few tools and scattered statuettes made of now green bronze. Judging by the simplicity of the chamber, it was likely little more than a basic storage room. Corridors leading to the deeper caves have all been buried by time. Now let's collect the useful scraps of iron, bronze, and iron. You have a few capable hands with you. The clangs or rattles that's for quite a bit, even though you take only the most promising pieces of avoid encumbrance. Tirsa scowls at you, but follows the order. Search the shells bundles. No one is eager to assist you. Among the decomposing soggy bags and pouches, you find a humble bunch of coins threaded on a bowstring, far from the 50 you were asked to find by the Pelt's innkeep. Other than that, you find no potions, weapons, or travel kit, only a few unassembled torches. Alright, well, let's get back to the boat before the sun rises. Oh, we probably shouldn't have picked those things up, huh? That was probably why he was scowling at me. All this belongs to the tribe of the Green Mountain. Can we put him back? put him back. It's a good thing I caught myself. Let's get back to the boat before the sun rises. You spread the corpse one more look till Leah clears her throat. We can't leave him like that. You're right. Let's gather some timber. Surround Asterion shell with a few wooden logs and some of his own possessions. Smoke drives you outside. Fresh air makes you yawn. You grab your bags and approach the edge of the scrap. Observing the woods of High Island, you recognize the trail that led you here from the Valley of the Saurians. Let's try to follow the same trail. You should be able to reach the harbor before the low tide. And we found him. Help your group tie the boat to the piling. Gidia, worried about Magenta, is the first one to enter the hamlet. The others start to plan their return home. Alan makes sure her crossbow didn't suffer from the salt water. She's seasick again and doesn't say much, but her giggling remains as honest as ever. Tircis throws away one of his creepers. Gotta make a new one when I get home. Tulia lets out a weak chuckle and helps the conversation keep to a friendly tone. She resembles the same woman you saw in the camp all those days back. This time she holds herself like a leader. Grab my eyes and follow Gidia. I better get ready. Scratch Magenta's neck, take off your bundle, splash your face with cold water. Now you need to take everyone to safety before you stop somewhere for the night. You're going to end the day at Foggy Lake, the Watchtower, Western Crossroads. Where's the Western Crossroads? The Watchtower. I guess so. Then I can visit Eudocia. Alright. Oh no, we should visit Foggy. Foggy would like to know. Ideally, I'd still have to end up going back to Elton North after all this, after I give everyone the news. This is the Western Crossroads. Alright, yeah, the Watchtower. Watchtower is blending with the wilderness slowly. For a moment, you find that the gate's position has changed since your last visit, but once you get closer, you're sure there are no fresh tracks. Well, do I have time to get to... I do. Touch the colt's shell, the monster's eyes glow red. Leto, come inside, I wouldn't mind a big company. Golems let you in. This is sitting on the stool, by the hearth, stares at a hot liquid in a wooden bowl in her hands. I have bad news. Asterion is dead. Describe your expedition, but she pays little attention, serving the ends of her hairs. Just tell me what happened. Your vague answer is met with a sad yet accepting smile. Too bad he chose to die alone. Yeah. Anyway. I guess I'll meet you at Pendleton North. Oh, wait, you're not coming with me right away, aren't you? Okay. Well, I'm gonna tell everyone about what happened. And then I can head back. I'll let you know what they think of this golem arm. She did come in handy. So thanks for that. Since I'm here, might as well sleep. Okay. Should probably get to the tribe and tell them what I saw. The griffin is nowhere in sight. The wind shakes the trees, and as they rustle, you notice a lynx sitting on a bench doing its best to not fall down. Oh, I guess I traveled here instead of here. few armed villagers, a Sauron rider included, are gathered at the entrance, engaged in a loud discussion. Once you dismount, they fall silent, giving each other angry scowls, then welcome you with cold nods. Are they not happy? I enter the cave. While Seth is already waiting for you, asks you to wait for a few minutes. When Guyana shows up, she coughs a bit, but welcomes you with a warm smile and sits down on the trunk, letting out a loud, relaxed sigh. She spreads her stones on the fabric, moving them with great care. My friend dies about Steep House Village will soon be under new leadership. Right. They look at you in silence. To me, Tyus is only a story, Guyana speaks carefully. To story not of a leader, but of a tyrant. My cousin lost his life in Steep House, fell in love with a young druidess. Cephas looks at you with a sinister grin, or maybe his scars make you see it that way. He did nothing wrong, lived there and cut stones. Tyus's beasts were always loud, and just like the real howlers, they ought to hang from a branch. Okay, well maybe that's taking things a little too far, but I could see you guys didn't like her. Guyana scowls at him, and even though she may be younger than half his age, she suddenly seems much smaller, crossing his arms. You're a good soul to make this happen. She looks at you again, now holding a small green gem. With her as a chief, we were waiting for the wrath of the herds to fall upon him. Right. I also bring you news of what I saw on High Island. Sharing the story of your journey takes you a long time. You get many questions from both the leaders, and some of the more nuanced descriptions use words that are not known to them. Finally, you describe the cave and Asterion's treasure. Guyana looks at the rocks below her. Cephas speaks in her direction with disappointment flowing through every sound. So, after all, he was yet another shell lusting after wealth. You flinch when he reaches for his sword, but he uses it as a support for his crossed arms. Asterion is yet another sign that the city folk haven't changed. Yet, so far, you've shown us nothing but kindness. Why have you returned to us with this tale, Leto? I just want to tell you the truth. Not all city folk are cunning goblins. Yeah. I guess that's his big money-making scheme. Was to grab treasures from there. But I just want to tell you the truth. Not all city folk are cunning goblins. Guyana takes a deep breath, then stretches her legs out and looks at you kindly. Your truth and tales are of great value, and if you come here after winter, we'll show you honesty and a safe roof as well. I appreciate that. Hopefully I will be back to grab Eudycia. I'll make sure to stop by. Stand up. Farewell. Okay. Who's next? You even tell the bandits? Yeah, she's threatened to kill me without question, so probably not. Boggy Lake. Actually, let's go to Creeks. We can rest here tomorrow. Or we can rest here tonight, because I have to come back here to rest anyway. So, a few scantily clad people are standing on the bridge, greeting you as you ride by. On your way to the gate, a flock of sparrows takes off the road, landing either on the watchtower or on the tree to your right. Look for Ella the carpenter. I should probably wash up. Oh yeah, let's look for Ella. He's testing a new chair, which wobbles a bit too much. He smiles and puts away his tools. Welcome back, friend! Good to see that you stay safe on the roads. Oh, I've made some additional progress with the Eastern Path. There were even more issues. I'm listening. I spent a lot of time in the heart of the woods. I can tell you by its threats. He tilts his head left and right, then reaches for a single dragon bone from the case. I mean, why not? Surprise me! Your tale starts disjointed, with mentions of various creatures and paths, but you then get back to the beginning, describing the main route and the way you cleared it, but also the more treacherous turns. Neil's expression keeps swinging between approval and disbelief. And once you're done, he reaches for yet another coin. Quite a life you're leading, I'd say. Could be worse. I'm surprised you keep finding something to do. Right, speaking of something else, staring on his dead. I found a shell on High Island. Sits down, you consider walking away, but he finally speaks, though with hesitation. I'll pass the story to the tribe, though in a bit of a gentler way. He sighs and looks at your boots. I can't believe he found nothing. Why would he listen to a legend? Didn't he know there's so many of them they can't all be true? He adjusts his jacket, scratching his side with an absent look. They think he told us nothing about such goblin brain thing. He raises his eyes slightly, and seeing his clenched lips, you realize there's nothing else he can tell you about. Alright, well, I'll see you later. Go to Ephron. I guess he isn't interested. Avla. No. Alright, now we can get back to Faki. Enter the tavern. The air is humid and stuffy. The tables were just washed with a wet cloth. As Foggy walks around, she towers over every piece of furniture. She welcomes you with a stentorian, cheerful shout. Welcome, love. Good to see you in one piece. Alright, well, I found Asterion. After your story, she lets out a chuckle. So that's what he's been up to. Going there all by himself. What a dumb boy. She sees your look and shrugs. What can I say, love? He wasn't of much use. I wish I can get the head of his lizard. It would look pretty fine. No, there. She points at the bug's trophy with her broad chin. Ah, yeah. His lizard's over at... it doesn't matter. Yeah, maybe you want to buy some things? They're large. They're so large, dear, but every now and then we almost hunt down a bow or two. Places the tusk on the table, making a circle. I may sell them to a traveler one day. The city folk like to show their friends what mighty hunters they are. I'll give you a dragon and a dinner later on. Alright, deal. I am hungry. Besides, time to sell off my stuff. Time for me to... Oh, nope, I'm staying. I'm sleeping. Man, why not? Time for me to go. Travel. I should get my coins back from Svi. Oh, it's fine. I'm leaving anyway. Pillars of smoke start to rise above the buildings. Many of the workers have already left the village. The remaining adults are either outside carrying timber, food, or other wares, or in their workshops. The largest of which is open air. Sounds at work muffle the conversation, so you mostly hear the shouts of children and overseers. Soon after your arrival, a few of the locals approach you with springy steps, and you find no excuse to avoid a bit of chit-chat. Oh, I could use a bath. Step away. Cook. Could use a meal. Okay, let's go to Severina. Severina puts away her writing instruments and looks at you with a gentle smile. Is Evelyn alright? Found Asterion on High Island. As you speak, she pours water from a pitcher to a seashell. Responds while looking at you. Right, well, heed the rules, the same rules you broke. She takes a sip and licks her wrinkled lips. But I guess you're still one piece, so I won't dwell upon it. I got permission to do that. I guess so did he. He did visit them before, after all. They knew he was going there. Alright. That out of the way. Not sure if White Marsh is willing to see me. Let me check on Pierces. Okay, I don't have anything to say. I just wanted to see if he was doing okay. White Marshes. Alright, well, Helvia still doesn't want to talk to me. Old Pagos. Well, I guess Tertia isn't interested. Library. Okay, they're not interested in hearing about him. Hallersdale. We gossip for a bit, enter the village. Okay, I could stay at the Elder's Cave. I'm not staying here. Elpis. What's going to happen with the village after Tyus' trial? Not an easy question. She may live with us as an honorable elder, or be sent into the woods with nothing more than a shirt on her back like a traitor, or be acknowledged as a fair leader with good answers to our doubts. She rests her head on her staff and gives you a tired look. Whatever happens, our neighbors will take peace from it, knowing no one was above judgment. That's what matters, right? I go to the main square. Not the mayor's gonna want to talk to me. Eric's... No, he's not interested. Bart informs you that she needs to look for her, so you stay. When Dias joins you, she just says a word, no takes a seat. Right, you're still the leader, so I thought I'd inform you. I found Asterion. You described the island and the cave, but before you mention the Roadwarden shell, she leans away and sighs. Leave this to the bards. Is he dead or not? If your one-word response, she waves it off. Very well. I'll tell the others. Farewell, Dias. Okay, let's go. Oh, we can't visit Cheedia. Alright, we'll go to the Elder's place. Alright, found Asterion. His eyes widen after he mentioned the undead from a cave. Once he speaks, his voice is shaking. Woken by the fogs, you released them from the worst fate. To know the truth, he sighs. It feels right. Right, well, I'd like to stay here for the night. And... probably wash up the spring. Go to the fishing hamlet. Return to Agidia. Okay, well, I guess she doesn't want to talk to her about her mom. I should go pick up my trap. I forgot to pick up the other traps, but it's not probably not going back there. Take the fish trap back. Hell to the north. Well, we're back here. Probably go to the well. Oh, I'm clean. Okay. Approach the guards. Why not do some dice throwing? Ah, I lost. Alright. Hell of a way. Hell of a way. Go to the innkeeper. Get some food. Tell him that I found Asterion. Wait, do you have anything you want to buy? Broken knife. Fresh. Set of antlers. You know, I could probably sell this stuff in town or in the city. I'm keeping my souvenirs. Okay, I found Asterion. Tell an abridged version of your story during which you struggle to read anything from the innkeep's eyes. Once you're done, he tensely moves his shoulders, waiting for something. I'm afraid he just had a couple dragons with him. I don't know where your share is. No, I have plenty of dragons at this point. You know the dragon bones he had with him in the cave. I'm afraid it's not even close to 50. Taps his finger on the counter, but takes a deep breath. Could be worse. Keep 5 of them. He looks down. Main ape shit on his head. Looks like I've been conned. The darkness of the room gives his eyes a sad look. You didn't know him. What do you think? Was he a crook? Not sure. May still find a pouch of his somewhere. I mean, it's the simplest answer. I don't think he would try to steal from you, and even if he did, he would have had a good reason for it. Yeah, I'm not sure. Didn't know the guy. I mean, I guess he was a crook. He did try to steal the island stuff. But I don't know if he tried to steal from you. So, I'm going to keep my hopes low. He purses his lips. I appreciate your efforts, though. Getting to an island like that ain't an easy feat. And this peninsula needs people like you. There's too many things happening away from everyone's eyes. Well, my shift is over. Who knows where I'll be going next. I'll be back in the winter. Or after the winter. Let's look at the main hall. Quintus. He's not interested? Okay. The bandit. Not interested in Asterion. Pyros. Nope. Okay. Tulia. Gives you a radiant smile. Doing alright? About Asterion. She ponders for a bit, looking at the oven. So, what do you make of it? Not the brightest death I could have wished for someone. He knew his danger, but took the risk anyway. Fair end to his journey. Bit off more than you could chew. Now his kids will face the consequences. They will, but I don't want to say that. I don't know what to think. I'd like to know his perspective. He made a mistake, that's all. It's nothing to do with me. Honestly, I may end up the same way. Let's hope not. I don't know what to think. I don't have him here to talk to him, so. She sighs. Well, you can't read a soul. Let it go. It's in the past now. Yeah, his death seems so pointless now. I thought this was all leading up to something, you know? Her sad eyes betray a nonchalant voice. The right and nature take us without a reason. I guess. She stretches out, heads upstairs, and brings you a few items. There's enough of them to make her stumble, but she covers her embarrassment with a chuckle. Well, this is my part of the deal. Oh, I completely forgot about this. She rests 2 weapons against the table. You remove the cloth wrapped around the spear's head, sharp, made of steel. The shaft is made of thick oak. Asterion must have had pretty large hands, and is partially covered with linen cord and leather straps, intended to support one's grip. The bow is currently unstrung, but it would be about 5 feet long. The polished red oak shines in the light. You wonder if you're too old to learn how to shoot such a weapon. The other things on the table. The leather pouch must be decades old. You shake it, there's a few bones inside, but also something made of metal. You reach for the earthenware bottles. 3 of them are very similar to each other, as small as your fist, and are all sealed with wax, though the tiny sticks in them will enable the swift opening. Tulia explains that they contain small amounts of a healing concoction. I know a health potion when I see one. The last bottle is much larger. There are 2 letters engraved on its surface unknown to you. The soldier has no idea what it is. Finding space for it all under my bundles won't be easy. Okay. Magenta spares you a glance as you reach toward your bundles, but then returns to its nap. Take a deep breath. You could have taken the easy way out, but you didn't. Your back, buttocks, and legs are aching from the long journey. The first night you spent on the peninsula feels like a lifetime ago. You're still here, and who knows, maybe even rich. Well, I wouldn't call myself rich. But, let's see if we can get this read. Really? Okay, well, I need to sleep here. I was hoping you'd read the bottle. Let's look at the bottle. Filled with some liquid. Open and sniff the bottle. Okay, maybe the elder would know. Okay, maybe not. Antisa can't even read. Oh, Tirsus. Oh, come on. Alright, you just see how it is. Really? Fine. I'll sniff it. The smell coming from inside is both fruity and floral. Brings to the soul sweet berries, sour apples, and violets. You struggle to detect the scent of a hard drink, but once you find it, it's clear that it's wine. In the cities, such drinks are considered rare and often get expensive. The only ones you've tasted here were made locally, considered to be of low quality. This one here may be the real deal. Be an expert to confirm it. I happen to know an expert. But we're gonna have to sleep here for tonight. Okay. Here we go. You're saying it's from grapes? I'll take a sniff, eh? She puts the bottle under her nose and lets out a pleased sigh. I don't know much about these, but this one smells plenty fine. Must be rare. 15 dragons? I'll add it to my collection. I'll get more use out of it than I would. Asterion spear. Plenty fine weapon, especially the head. She nods while holding a Asterion spear. The boys outside could practice with it in winter. I don't trust their daggers and clubs, but I won't give you more than 6 dragons. Hey, take it. Is there anyone else I can give this to? No. Astarion's bow. Maybe I can give that to Cheetia. See if she wants it. Oh, I have a fish trap with me. A basket with a lid. Would you like it? Raise an eyebrow. Show me. You grab it, then start to explain how it works. Oh, I get it. We do not place such traps often. Howell's Creek is clean and all, but not very generous. She looks toward the brook, then at the trap again. Lost in her thoughts, she walks around, tapping her bow. Do not have dragons, you realize, but there was brine here in a barrel. I made a seal skin with it. She's a nice pelt. I wanted it for someone to close, but I'd rather have this basket, learn how to make more of them. I'm worried about all the salt I ate. Pelt for a trap? Alright, sounds good. Seal skin, huh? Oh, I guess you don't want the bow. I'm back, guys. This time axe throwing. Hoo-hoo. Gotta love it. Innkeeper. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Leftovers. Let's see how we get paid for this bow. Then it belonged to Asterion. Takes for a moment and makes sure there are no cuts or defects. We have some bow fighters on the wall. 10 coins. Deal. More of a crossbowman anyway. Set of antlers. Now, I'm not too crazy about antlers. We've enough of them already. He rubs one of the eyes with his thumb. I don't expect to see a trader chasing after such a cheap trophy for the wall. I'll give you a single meal for it. Nah. Broken knife. 2 bones. Alright. That's fine. I'll just take it back with me. Tilia. I think it's time to finish our adventure. You all packed and ready? She rests her hand on her knees and straightens up. I am if you are. Look outside. It's too late to ride to the other side of Hag Hills, but you could leave first thing in the morning. Alright, let's just shoot to Magenta. We're going to spend a lot of time together. No tribe willing to allow me to stay with them. All I've got left is to head back to the city. That was the plan from the beginning, wasn't it? The owners recognize you in the Blessed Empire Inn. You sound the night in a proper bed, holding a mug of steaming pigeon soup. This time around, Tulia pays for the stay. She's a good companion, willing to share the discomforts of the road and to kill boredom with idle chat. The day fades away slowly, with Tulia by your side. You can't simply outrun the autumn predators. A few times your journey gets violent. For all the fighting I did in North, the road isn't too rough. And they should see the woods. After 2 days, you join forces with an encountered caravan. The roads get wider and harder, and you meet the first patrol of soldiers. "Well, here," says the lieutenant in the last village you visit before reaching the city walls. Without explaining, she approaches a few red-haired farmers that are observing you cautiously from the bench in front of the pit houses after exchanging a few words with them. Tulia gestures towards you. The Roadwarden is who should be thanked for finding him. The strangers keenly listen to your tale, then, with smiles clouded by grief, thank you for your bravery. Man who looks younger than the rest can't stop his tears once he hears his pa has been spared the cursed fate and found his end in the flames. The strangers keenly listen to your tale, then, with smiles clouded by grief, thank you for your bravery. A man who looks younger than the rest can't stop his tears once he hears his pa has been spared the cursed fate and found his end in flames. I'm sorry, kid. After a delicious meal, you resume your journey, carrying with you their names and invitation. Maybe I'll meet with them in spring. I wish I knew what really happened to their father to do all this. Maybe I'll come back in the spring just to check on them. After taking care of some chores and meeting a few friendly faces, you leave your mount in the stables, which, as it often happens, are almost empty. In Beholden, every street seems to be more crowded than an entire northern village, and you frown the moment you hear the busy marketplace. You may be back home, but you'll need a few days to get used to the local scents, noise, and the overall lack of green. You consider taking your equipment to the backwood corner, but a kind merchant is quick to mention the recent wave of break-ins. Take your chance at the nearby alehouse and borrow an extra padlock from a friend. You listen to the rumors, but as the minutes go by, no one approaches you or asks you for help. The trade goes fine. You hear the city chief has a daughter now. A new ship is ready to sail. Taxes are coming. The band of undead on the road has been taken care of. I'm so used to looking for people to help. Listen carefully, maybe someone will have a job for me. I remain watchful. Things are not as quiet as they seem. Keep to myself, enjoy the calm before the storm. Join a group of patrons. Let's have a drink. Something about it. I can't stop the urge of finding a job. Man, can I ever relax? The noise of the drunken crowd hinder your sleep. You head downstairs and fully wake up only after you get served the remains of the last day's supper: ibex stew, a piece of rat pie, and a mug of kefir. Judging by the arguments of the laborers and the raised voice of a priest's sermon, Beholden is returning to work. When a messenger shows up, you let out a sigh. The merchants want to see you in an hour. Spend some time at a small public bathhouse. You wouldn't be allowed in the one for the rich folk. Prepare the outfit you brought at Howler's and let you blend in with the elite crowd. On your way, the familiar faces spare you a few nods, but as always, the city folk are too busy trying to make ends meet. At least no one's wasting my time. I'll buy Magenta a few apples on my way back. To gather my thoughts, I spend some time wandering in the marketplace. Now I'll buy Magenta a few apples. Not rich, but I got some coin. After a few hours of exhausting examination, you lean against the wall, observing the arguing leaders. The jewelry and colorful fabrics could provide for many northern families, even pay for a new stronghold. You wouldn't recognize the priests of the United Church if it wasn't for the familiar faces. At least you had more luck than that poor wench, mentions one of the traders. No one here remembers Astarion's name. The news you brought from the island is of great value. You ask for something to clear your throat. Your detailed description of the peninsula made quite an impression. You may be asked to speak with a cartographer later. Getting in touch with so many northerners helped you describe the complex web of connections. You filled the gaps in your report and discussed the recent disappearance of a trading caravan, Odysseus' golem glove, your familiarity with the heart of the woods, the rumored access from the coast, the copper vein, the shelter by the northern road, now flooded mine in the south. Still, it's your dealings with the tribes that will have the greatest impact on their decision. I recollect the blizzard of questions about the villages. I relax and wait for them to address me. recollect the blizzard of questions about the villagers? What does that mean? As in, I answer them? While seeing the open letter from Howler's Dell raised a few eyebrows, the promise of a future collaboration sparked great curiosity. So it's still the richest village in the north, even if led by pagans, the priest summarized, though lying to them about the fishing hamlet will hinder our negotiations. But what happened to Steep House? Your explanations make the city chief frown, but it's the mention of Dice losing her position in the village that raised a few voices. The priest placed her chin on her hand, placed her chin. That says on her hand. Well, the druids are not going to greet us with open hearts. We won't be able to do much there. Sorry to tell you. You could try. But trust me, you would not want Dice as... Well, she might still be in charge, who knows. Learning about the plague of old Pagos has worried the officials, mostly with the thought that you could have brought the illness with you. There's some time to discuss the promising future. Why, we cured that a while ago. Pulling a tribe away from the verge of destruction wasn't on the warden's list of duties, but it is a very welcome surprise. You heard from one of the artisans. If we were to decide to move forward with our investment, we could bring a few sketches to the village with our first caravan. Gaining the prelate's trust is a great help, a monk exchanged nods with the best-dressed priest. We would be glad to visit the place you described. Having the opportunity to send pilgrims to that library would bring even more life to those roads. According to the reports of... The city chief looks at the wax tablet. Tulia, I believe. White Marshes is using the shells of the dead. After explaining that the issue has not only been solved, but also has most likely opened the village to the outside world, the inquisitive questions kept on coming for another half an hour. Too bad that heretic is still around, summed up a priest, but at least we don't have to send the purging squad, for now. Eesh. He drew their attention to the vast peat field, and the artisans started to discuss the possibilities. The room got a bit warmer. After hearing that your visit to the creeks had ended with little to no promises, the council's confidence in you weakened, even though a few of the members were not aware of the tribe's existence. That's not fair. So we hardly know of this place, and we need to start our work from the very beginning, said one of the traders. And not only that, the hunters there are disappearing. Doesn't seem to be worth the effort. You were then confronted with Tuli's reports, now written down, about the dangers of the Eastern Trail. After the reassuring tale of your deeds, one of the clerks threw the tablet toward a bored guard. Sounds like the trail can be tamed after all. The news of the relation between Gale Rocks and the bandits sparked a long discussion, but your assurance that the issue has been taken care of received a warm welcome. According to the scrolls, they used to be of great value to the guild, said one of the traders. Having the largest coastal village open negotiation presents a great opportunity. At least reaching the village won't be too difficult now. With the tribe ready to restore its tunnel, added an official, we now have a good understanding of the village's wares and needs. Another trader chipped in with a grateful nod. Did we expect any difficulties from the tribe of the Green Mountain? You were asked at the end of the meeting. After you described how, so far, your meetings with the chief and the shaman were rather fruitful, you were met with relieved looks. I noticed that someone's looking at me. Again, that's me. I don't know if you guys would get relieved looks. I had a recommendation, you could say. But someone is looking at me. The oldest soul at the table who started her life in the guild as a simple innkeep smiles at you. Where do you think we should start, Leto? What do you mean? One of the artisans chipped in. We need to discuss this in detail, of course, but we can't bring guards and builders to all the villages at once. Since you know the peninsula better than anyone, where do you think would be the best starting point? Old Pagos has a lot to offer, and the monks will secure the tribe's loyalty. That's true. White Marsh is weak and lacks guidance. You can turn them into the perfect outpost. I'd rather them not. Gale Rocks is more experienced in trade than any other village. Together you can skip the difficult first steps. That is also true. But Old Pagos is probably... Old Pagos is probably the best. The monks will secure the tribe's loyalty. They are of the Rife. So are Gale Rocks, though. but they are far. Old Pagos, much closer. Clerk puts a wax tablet on top of the pile, then opens another one, letting out a long sigh. I keep riding the peninsula. Does that place have a name? Can I think of a name? How would you call the peninsula? The Beholden lands. The next day, you take part in another meeting in the guild's chambers. The council representatives are not as numerous this time around, but you recognize a few of the main members, including the city chief. You portray a troubled land with a promising future, he tells you at the start, and we're going to be sure to direct the place accordingly. Good job, citizen. You return to the street with the wooden casket, heavy with dragon bones. Provide for you until summer. But you doubt the tribes of the peninsula would take you in with open arms. Your servant's family could help me. I'll use this coin to protect myself, find a new job in Havlavin. It's not the end. I can still find a new home. There's a lot of land out there. And my hope was to get out of the city, even if for temporary bouts at a time. The sudden flow of merchants, soldiers, explorers, and supplies shook the north. While at first the tribes opposed some of the present opportunities, they couldn't resist the temptation of new inventions, crops, and security. After a few years, artisans, herbalists, hunters, and poor city folk started to look for a new home in this rich land, and just a generation later, the officials of Havlavin cleared the wilderness in the southeast, preparing it for a new village loyal to its interests. The trade route following the Western Trail greatly benefited the dwellers of the Belt of the North. After 5 more years, they moved to the city to live off their savings, but a few of them got attached to their now safe home. They remained in the end and started to expand it, making room for the next generation to join them. Dalit, the leader of this new hamlet, allowed needy travelers to rest inside free of charge. One of her most trusted friends was Tulia, who arrived to Pelt soon after losing her squad, seeking stable work among the hunters. After banishing Dias and limiting the influence of the village guards, the Druids led Howler's Dell by themselves, drifting further away from the customs accepted among the 10 cities. They allowed the caravans to ride through the village and exchange wares, but had little interest in growth. Lacking in resources, the village could never limit its reliance on the other villages. For the most part, the gates kept the priests, bars, and drifters away, and so the next generation continued to pray to their ancestors. However, as the other villages grew in power, the significance of the formerly richest village in the north dwindled, and after some time, the tribe lost any power over its lands, opening itself to the raiders of inquisitors. Egidia never forgave the sins of her neighbors. Afraid to face her mother, she decided to leave the peninsula in spring, forming a group of adventurers who were eager to save innocent lives even without pay. While she couldn't reverse the destruction of Steep House, her noble deeds helped her spend her nights in peace. Steep House stood in silence, avoided by the caravans that cut a new path through the haunting clearing. Before it faded away, the people of Howler's Dell placed a humble stone statue of a tree torn by the lightning on the paved square. While I express regret, they have never avowed their authorship. The tribe of Opagos lost many lives to the plague, but the supplies brought to them by their friends from Gale Rocks helped them overcome the harsh winter. Thanks to the revitalized trade route, the locals returned to their craft, providing an essential material to the now growing security of the northern roads and settlements. Their famous statues soon reached the houses in the city, and then traveled to distant provinces, unaware of the centuries they were about to witness. The tribe kept their savings for the darker days, but they were always happy to open the gates for bards and actors, especially those portraying the grand deeds of heroes from Wright's tales. After some time, another play based on the stories of the tribe was performed in Havlavin. the Roadwarden who cured the plague. Tertia stayed in the village, but rejected the further responsibilities of leader, returning the power to the elders. She spent a few years patrolling the roads until, humbled by the selfless help she received during her struggles, she joined the monks on the mountain, guarding them from flying beasts and escorting them on their journeys to other monasteries. Quintus eagerly joined his friends at Pelt. His next years were full of brave hunts and drinking until he mixed the two a bit too much, barely escaping a runner. With the help of his companions, he began his path toward maturity. With the support of Lavin, the monks completed the library in stone during the following century. After the city artisans strengthened the support of the walls and a ceiling in the hollowed mountain, the monastery survived even the tremendous earthquake that soon tore the Dragonwoods in half. The monastery became the pearl of Providence, luring thousands of pilgrims, but also thieves, seeking fabled treasures hidden among the tunnels. Orinthius kept his word and steered clear of black magic, stepping into the background of local politics. While he guided his neighbors spiritually, he no longer claimed to be a prophet. The people of White Marshes were growing in comfort, not only trading with the city folk, but also offering their services as guards to the caravans of travelers, gaining more from such journeys than they would ever from their unusual soil. Helvius's short-sighted leadership hindered the Hovlavin investments, but his tribe left behind the lean years once he grew too weak to uphold his position. Tirsus upheld his longing for a family for another year until, without alerting anyone, he left to see the hermit in sundry caves, and stay with him for another few seasons. Fighting shame and resentment, he finally found peace in letting go of his past, found himself a new home in the distant wetlands of the south, where he was valued for his impressive talents, and where his quirks were seen as harmless. The lies of Iason from Pelt made Foggy hesitant and unsure if she should spend her future toiling for the sake of her inn, or leave it to her partner. After a few years, she sold the place to the merchants of Lavin. Then, feeling old, betrayed, and naive, she returned to Creeks, aiding her tribe as a cook. Using the pay he got from the Roadwarden, Svi soon left the tavern, traveling between the 10 cities and earning coins by stealing from merchants, artisans, and priests. After a few years, he was sentenced to death by banishment. Island kept to his mother, aiding her in various tasks. Thanks to the new supplies gained through trade, the children of Creeks grew strong, but far from being rich. While the village was bursting with life, constantly pursuing new ideas for a better tomorrow, most of them ended in nothing. On the other hand, the locals never tied themselves too strongly with the city and maintained their unusual customs. Ayla quickly realized that keeping the road safe was a much better way to earn dragon bones than selling his crooked chairs and tables. While he wasn't a fighter, he often joined the merchants traveling the peninsula, exchanging news and suggesting new investments. In the meantime, he was gladly engraving the shapes of animals on cups and plates. With the passage of time, Ephraim saw many more deaths among his friends. He grew quiet and detached, spending days talking to his hat, till he left without a word. People of Gale Rocks didn't need much time to experience improvements. Selling the excess of fish and salt, they received much-needed crops and tools and strengthened their ties with the United Church. After a few years, they were able to purchase enough ore to equip themselves with fine blades, keeping their own caravans and hunters safe. Their days were good, but the villagers remembered the teachings of their ancestors. Just as all lean years come to an end, so too do the ones of prosperity. Though with difficulty, the road leading through the heart of the forest was restored, maintained by the combined efforts of soldiers and locals. In its center, surrounding between the ancient cairn, was built a hamlet for travelers, known as Between Towers. While she no longer had her tribe's support, Glacia refused to abandon her new target, the people of Howler's Dell. However, the villagers, thanks to the Roadwarden, knew exactly where to find her, and managed to execute her in her own camp. Indicia agreed to do some work for the city folk, earning a great amount of luxurious wares. But since every request she got was a variation of making a weapon even more lethal, the boredom of repetition started to push her to the limits. Yet to her surprise, she found enjoyment while chatting with soldiers garrisoned at the nearby tower, who often showed up at her pond, after they spread the news that the enchantress wasn't, despite all suspicions, a crazy witch. More people dared to visit her, including those from her own tribe. Even though the growing commotion distracted her greatly, the flow of new ideas only helped her improve her talents. 2 decades went by. but she finally accepted the invitation of the guild, reaching of Loveland as a master enchantress. While living in the city was much louder than she was used to, she never thought of snakebait again. Cephas of the tribe of the Green Mountain, worried about the growing peasants of the city folk, decided to meet with the soldiers garrisoned at the watchtower by the eastern road and describe the borders of the tribe's territory. The tense negotiations would reoccur once every few years, at one point turning into an open conflict, but the officials were too determined to let go of their recent prey. After losing many warriors, the tribe ended up blocking the trail that connects it to the rest of the peninsula. Leto, the Roadwarden of the Beholden lands, didn't receive the backing of the city officials. They sought new opportunities as a traveling mercenary, hoping to find a place that would hire them for longer, but after drawing plenty of attention, their past finally caught up with them, and the consequences were even more severe than they had expected.